Washington Commanders fans, buckle up, because what you're about to hear is one of the most baffling, jaw-dropping decisions this front office has made all offseason, and trust me, that is saying something. Somewhere inside the walls of Commanders training camp in Ashburn, Virginia, there is a 5-alarm fire burning right in the middle of the offensive line. And instead of grabbing a fire extinguisher, head coach Dan Quinn just shrugged, looked at the flames, and said, "Everything is fine." Grab a seat, because today we are diving deep into the center position catastrophe that could sink Jaden Daniels and this entire offense before the season even kicks off, plus a brand new set of power rankings that just dropped a bombshell prediction nobody saw coming. This is the story the Washington Commanders don't want you talking about, but we're talking about it anyway. Before we get into the chaos, I need your help. We are on the verge of hitting 2,000 subscribers on this channel, and honestly, we cannot get there without you. If you're new here, do us a massive favor and smash that subscribe button right now before you keep watching, because every single subscriber gets us one step closer to that milestone. And it helps us keep bringing you this kind of no-holds-barred Commanders coverage every single day. Okay, now let's get into it. Let's rewind the tape here. For months, alarm bells have been ringing about the Commanders' center position, and for months this front office has plugged its ears and pretended not to hear them. This wasn't some hidden problem lurking in the shadows. This was a 5-alarm fire in plain sight, and Washington had every opportunity to put it out. Instead, Dan Quinn stood in front of reporters this week and said, with a straight face, that the team already has all the talent it needs at center. Let that sink in for a second. The same center position that has been a rotating door of question marks, position switches. And fresh injuries all summer long, and the head coach is telling you there's nothing to worry about. If you've been following this story, you know exactly why that statement is raising eyebrows across Commanders Nation. Here's the reality on the ground. Nick Allegretti, the man currently penciled in as Washington Zen's starting center for Week 1, is once again missing practice time. He will not suit up for the joint practice against the Baltimore Ravens on Wednesday, and he is expected to sit out the preseason finale against Baltimore on Friday night as well. Now, if your eyebrows were already raised about Allegretti heading into camp, this should send them through the roof. Remember, this is a player who is making the switch from guard, a position he has played his entire career, over to center, a spot he has never manned at the NFL level. And in the brief window he's actually gotten on the field this summer, he has now been banged up in back-to-back practices. That's not just a durability red flag, that's a 5-alarm siren. Because unlike wide receiver and quarterback where you can survive without a ton of reps together, the center-quarterback relationship is built on pure, repetitive chemistry. Every single snap of the football depends on that exchange being second nature. Ask Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels how costly it was last season when timing wasn't quite right between pass catcher and passer. Now imagine that same lack of chemistry happening on literally every offensive play of the game. With Allegretti sidelined yet again, at best he will have walked away from training camp with only about 2 weeks of real reps next to Daniels before Washington opens the season against the Philadelphia Eagles. 2 weeks. That's the runway this franchise is giving its franchise quarterback to build trust with the man snapping him the football. And as if that wasn't messy enough, this situation just got a whole lot stranger. Dan Quinn also announced that rookie Matt Golden, the young lineman out of Michigan State, is being moved back to center full-time after Washington inexplicably shifted him over to guard just last week. Why does that matter? Because Golden actually looked sharp at center during the preseason opener against the Miami Dolphins. He was playing well, he was building momentum, and then, out of nowhere, the coaching staff yanked him off the position and bounced him over to guard instead. Now they're flip-flopping him right back. If you're a fan trying to make sense of the logic here, you are not alone, because it does not add up. Meanwhile, guess who has been taking the #1 center reps with Jaden Daniels while Allegretti nurses his injury? Julian Good-Jones. And if you've watched even a single preseason snap from Good-Jones this summer, you already know where this is headed, because by just about every account, Good Jones has looked like one of the shakiest starting caliber linemen anywhere in the entire National Football League right now. We are talking about a player who, according to everything we've seen on tape this preseason, might be the single worst projected starter at any position on any roster across the league. And yet, there he was again today, running with the starters, snapping the football to the face of this franchise. Here's where the story turns from concerning to downright maddening. While Washington leans on an unproven rookie, an injury-prone position switcher, and arguably the worst starting lineman in football, there is a proven, healthy, hungry veteran center sitting on the open market right now, practically begging for a phone call. His name is Graham Glasgow, and by all accounts, he is the best free agent center still available anywhere in the league. Glasgow has publicly made it known he would absolutely entertain signing with the Washington Commanders. He has experience thriving in a Ben Johnson-style scheme, the exact system Washington's new coordinators are trying to install. He is ready. He is willing. He could sign a contract today, and Adam Peters and Dan Quinn are looking at all of this and saying, nah, we're good. It is baffling. It is borderline unforgivable given the stakes. And if this front office continues to bury its head in the sand while a ready-made fix sits right there in front of them, they are gambling with the health and success of a franchise quarterback who is still on his rookie contract and still trying to prove he can be a perennial MVP candidate. Let's be blunt about what's at stake here. If Julian Good-Jones is out there taking meaningful starting snaps at center for the Washington Commanders once the regular season begins, that is not just a mistake. That is an organizational failure with fingerprints all over it. From general manager Adam Peters to head coach Dan Quinn to the offensive line coaching staff, everyone in that decision-making chain needs to be held accountable, because this outcome was completely avoidable. Washington had a clean, easy fix available in free agency the entire time, and instead they chose paralysis. If the season goes sideways because Jaden Daniels is getting rattled behind a shaky interior line, nobody inside that building will be able to say they didn't see it coming. We told you. Graham Glasgow told you. The tape told you. So here's a question for you to sound off on down in the comments. Should the Washington Commanders sign Graham Glasgow today, yes or no? My answer is an emphatic yes, no hesitation. Drop your answer in the comments and let's get a real debate going, because this front office needs to hear from the fan base loud and clear. Now, before we shift gears, let's talk about the rest of the injury report bubbling up out of training camp, because the center position isn't the only storyline worth watching. Tight end Ben Sinnott, who exited Saturday's preseason game against the Detroit Lions early, was absent from practice again. Dan Quinn didn't address his status directly in his press conference, which could mean it's nothing serious, or it could mean the team is being cautious while they evaluate. Either way, keep a close eye on Sinnott's health as the week rolls along, because losing a piece of the tight end room right before the season would be one more problem this offense doesn't need. On the backfield side of things, both starting running backs, Bill Krosky-Merritt and Jeremy McNichols were limited in practice, and neither is expected to suit up against Baltimore on Wednesday, nor in the preseason finale. That's not exactly alarming on its own. It looks more like Washington is simply being smart, protecting their backfield workhorses and making sure they're fully healthy and ready to roll once Week 1 actually matters. So, cautious optimism there. Now here is a genuine bright spot in an otherwise chaotic camp report. Defensive lineman Tim Settle is officially back on the practice field for the first time this summer. Settle, who began his career in Washington, is expected to handle a heavy workload at nose tackle for this defense once the season begins. After a summer full of frustrating headlines on the offensive side of the ball, seeing a familiar face return to the field healthy and ready to contribute is exactly the kind of momentum this team needs heading toward Week 1. All right, we've got to talk about this next headline, because it is going to spark some serious debate. ESPN just dropped their so-called Future Power Rankings. And this list isn't about how the Commanders will do in the 2026 season. It's about projecting where this franchise stands from 2027 all the way through 2029. A panel of ESPN analysts, including Louis Riddick, Aaron Schatz, Ben Solak, and Seth Walder, rated every team across categories like quarterback situation, roster talent outside the quarterback, front office, and coaching staff. And where did Washington land? 20th overall, not top 10, not even top 15. 20th, let's break down exactly how brutal and in some cases exactly how encouraging these individual category rankings actually are. The roster outside the quarterback position was ranked a shockingly low 28th in the entire league. Coaching came in at 26th, front office landed at a more respectable 17th, and here's the one that's going to make Commanders fans furious. Jayden Daniels, the reigning near MVP caliber quarterback who took this franchise to the NFC Championship game, was ranked just 11th at his position, sitting right outside the league's top 10. If that doesn't get your blood boiling as a Commanders fan, I don't know what will. But it's not all doom and gloom. Analyst Ben Solak offered a much more optimistic take on why this franchise still has real hope heading into the coming seasons. According to Solak, a fully healthy season from Jayden Daniels would go a long way toward proving this team's true ceiling, especially if it's paired with a strong debut from first-time play caller David Blough calling the shots on offense. Solak even suggested that more than almost any other team sitting in the bottom half of these rankings, Washington has a legitimate path to vault all the way into the top 5 if Daniels can simply return to the electrifying near MVP form we all witnessed back in 2024. And honestly, that take checks out. Between fresh infusions of talent on the defensive side of the ball through free agency and a new-look coaching staff built around modern, aggressive schemes inspired by names like Ben Johnson and Brian Flores, there's a real foundation here for growth. New coordinators David Blough on offense and Devontae Jones on defense represent exactly the kind of forward-thinking coaching philosophy that top franchises in this league are chasing right now. Then there's the other side of the argument, and it comes from analyst Louis Riddick, who did not hold back. Riddick says everything surrounding Jayden Daniels concerns him. The offensive line, the makeup of the receiver room, the big play ability, or lack thereof in the running back room, and the early growing pains of a first-time play caller in Blough. Riddick's exact worry is that Daniels is a legitimate superstar, but this roster simply might not be built well enough around him for the world to ever see his full potential unfold. And honestly, after everything we just walked through with the center position fiasco, it's hard to argue with that logic. Time and time again, this front office has had chances to fully surround Jayden Daniels with talent and stability while he's still playing on a team-friendly rookie contract, and time again, question marks keep popping up in critical spots along the roster. Still, when you weigh it all out, the optimism arguably outweighs the concern here. Compare this current 2026 Commanders roster to the one that shocked the league and made a run to the NFC Championship game back in 2024, and there's a real argument that this current group on paper is actually more talented and more complete. If Jayden Daniels can once again prove that he's the kind of transcendent quarterback who elevates everyone around him, and if Devontae Jones can get this defense playing fast and aggressive, Washington could be looking at the best overall roster of the entire Jayden Daniels era. That is a tantalizing thought for Commanders fans heading into the stretch run before the regular season kicks off. And then there's the bold eyebrow-raising prediction from analyst Seth Walder that has fans buzzing. Walder predicts that offensive lineman Brandon Coleman will eventually get traded away for a nice return ahead of the 2027 season. Here's the reasoning. Coleman is currently stepping in at left tackle while Laramie Tunsil recovers from tricep surgery, and if Coleman performs well in that starting role, he could become one of the most coveted trade chips on the entire offensive line market. Walder points to Coleman's elite career pass block win rate hovering around 90.7%, including a blistering 92.3% mark last season, even with additional double-team help compared to what Tunsil typically saw. If Coleman puts together a strong season protecting Jaden Daniels' blindside, don't be shocked if other teams around the league come calling with serious trade offers once Tunsil is fully healthy and ready to reclaim his starting job. It's a fascinating storyline to track as this season unfolds, and it's exactly the kind of value-building opportunity a well-run front office should be looking to capitalize on, which, ironically, stands in stark contrast to the center position mess we just spent all this time breaking down. So there you have it, Commanders fans. On one hand, you've got a front office seemingly ignoring a glaring hole in the middle of their offensive line, with the perfect free agent fix sitting right there for the taking. On the other hand, you've got a genuinely exciting long-term outlook, with Jaden Daniels positioned as a potential top 5 quarterback in this league if the front office ever gets serious about building around him the right way. It's a roller coaster of a storyline, and honestly, that's exactly what makes following this Commanders team so entertaining right now. Before we wrap things up, I need to circle back one more time, because this really matters to us. We are so close to hitting that 2,000 subscriber milestone, and every single person watching this video right now has the power to help us get there. If you've made it this far into the video, that tells me you actually care about this team and want the real, unfiltered breakdown every single day. So do us a solid and hit that subscribe button right now if you haven't already. All right, let's hear from you. Drop a comment down below and tell me your bold prediction for the Commanders over the next 4 seasons. Do you think Jaden Daniels becomes a true top 5 quarterback in this league? Do you think Washington finally wakes up and signs Graham Glasgow before it's too late? Or do you think this center situation ends up being the disaster we're all worried it could be? Let me know exactly what you're thinking down in the comments section, because I read every single one of them. And listen, before you click away from this video, I've got one final ask. If this breakdown helped you understand exactly what's happening inside Commanders training camp right now, do me a favor, smash that like button, drop a comment with your take, and if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel so you never miss a single update. We are grinding every single day to bring you Commanders coverage that nobody else is giving you, completely free, and we cannot keep doing that without your support. Hitting 2,000 subscribers is the next big goal for this channel, and you watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing right now is exactly how we get there. So do it. Do it right now before you forget. Thank you all so much for watching, Commanders Nation. Until next time, let's go raise some hail.